be showing you how to make your own personal action videos. And like me, you may not always have a second person around to help you out. Well, this is what this tutorial is for. Anyway, this is some techniques that I've developed on my own to aid in the process of making your own video with only one person. Now, many of these techniques can be applied to any other video that you want to make yourself. So anyway, let's get started. Oftentimes, one of the best places to film is inside of a house, due to the fact that you have many shelves and other items that you can place your camera on. Another good tip is that a small tripod is very useful. Same thing with a large tripod. Any tripod is very useful for this, but a small one you can oftentimes set up on a table and it'll work just fine. Plus, they're a lot cheaper too. And anyway, a lot of times this is one of the most important parts of making your home movie by yourself, because your table kind of almost acts as your filmer. Just think about it that way. Here's an example of a great camera angle you can do on your own. The setup for this one is fairly simple. Pretend that this picture frame is the camera. For the view that I'm showing you right now is the back, and the view right here is the front. This is set diagonally along the counter's edge. That way, when you look through it, it looks something like this. And if you can see through the picture frame, that's what the audience would be viewing. Now here's an example of what it would look like from the actual camera's view. Now it's time for what I call the foot shot. The foot shot is an extremely easy shot to take, and it also gives the impression that someone's going somewhere. And so this is very useful because whenever you're making an action movie, you want to kind of give the audience an idea of where the different objects lie and the way that the characters are moving around them, along with the floor plan of like the house. So like you might want to take a couple different shots of, let's just say, your bedroom, and then move on to a different room in your house, like the kitchen, like the dining room, because then it's like the audience is like, okay, how do you get from there to there? They can't create a clear picture in their mind of where the different things are. You always want to keep that in mind when making your short films. This is how the foot shot is set up. The camera pretty much just lies on the ground and basically just sits there while you run past. This is what it would look like to the audience. Something like this. Then you'd see a character running through the shot. Here's what it would look like directly from the camera. Now it's time for something that I like to call audience space viewing. Ooh. The thing about audience space viewing is the fact that you kind of want to create a setup for your audience in your mind, so that they can kind of almost trace how the characters are moving throughout the house, like I talked about earlier. Here's an example of what the audience should be thinking that the action scene looks like, overall. So, at first it starts out with the character going through here, for example, and then the character hides along this wall as bullets strike this wall behind him right here. And then he hides behind this, and basically goes around the couch and hides behind this, where he fires a couple of shots. Now the bad guy would be right about there. And so the bad guy would die right there. Now, you wouldn't show this whole entire big, huge, long thing of the acting, but you show individual shots of each thing, but you kind of want to create the illusion that it shows the whole entire thing when it really doesn't. And so this is an example of audience space viewing. The diagonal angle at which the camera is pointed gives it a little bit more depth as well. And another thing too is that you don't want to distance your audience from any shot in particular. Here's an example. So, what looked better? The first camera shot or the second? I bet you guys are probably thinking the second right about now. That and the second shot was also a shot that we just showed you. So this is an example of how this can be used to your advantage. Now it's time for one last shot, which I like to call the holding shot. This has been used multiple times in this tutorial also, and you'll notice it if you go back. This is a very easy shot due to the fact that you're pretty much just holding the camera to your face. However, there is a couple things you want to know. A, when holding the camera, don't do a straight arm. This shows the rest of the arm to your audience, and it just overall looks bad. Instead, what you might want to do is take your arm and create an L shape while holding the camera. Something kind of like this. And so it shows your face of the acting. You'll notice that it looks a lot like this in many movies you see. It shows a close-up face of the actor, right? This also helps in acting. And then you can switch to another face, which is covered up, which also makes it look like there's multiple people during the scene when there is really no one. Now, there is also cloning techniques. There's a ton of tutorials on the internet. I may do one in the future. But this is also really useful because if you got a clone, then you can also just cover up the face and it looks like a different person. This is very useful. However, a lot of times, the way it's done, it's very difficult to, well, how should I put this? It's very difficult to get good camera angles when doing this, unless you have a program like After Effects, which is one of the best ones out there. Anyway, another way to do this is if you want to do a close-up shot of the gun along with the face, you hold the camera up like this, and it shows a close-up of the gun and the face. And so someone could just be sneaking around the corner and you could show it like this. And this is probably one of the best camera angles out there. I'm sorry, that's all we have time for today. But if you guys would like to see more tutorials like this in the future, or some of our action videos, click the subscribe button up above. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys can make your own videos and possibly send them in to us. Thanks, bye.